Good afternoon, everyone. Before we start, we request all our audience to keep the mic under mute and cameras off for better connectivity and hassle-free session. We will be taking up all the questions at the end of the session, and also you can use the chat box for your questions. Welcome once again for the webinar organized by IIF Chennai chapter today. We are delighted to have each one of you here today. I want to take a moment to express our gratitude, thanking you for choosing to spend your valuable time with us. Your presence is a testament to your commitment to our today's topic, ESG guidelines. We now request our Chennai chapter chairman, Mr. Raman, to deliver the welcome address. Thank you, Raman sir, for your welcome address. We now request our Chennai chapter council member, Mr. Hema Prasad, to introduce our speaker of the day, Mr. S. Venkatraman, Lead Environment Corporate EHS Ashok Leyland, to our audience.
Thank you, Mr. Raj. It's my pleasure to introduce today's speaker, Mr. Venkatraman. He is a certified energy auditor from Bureau of Energy Efficiency and lead auditor ISO 14001 and 45001 from IRCA. He is a certified internal auditor for IATF 6949. He is having totally 27 years of experience in Ashok Leyland. His expertise in electrical, utilities, material handling, estate maintenance, and civil maintenance. He is a maintenance head for Hosur 2 plant and management representative EMS for Hosur. Currently, he is a lead environment corporate EHS, leading environment-related initiatives for all Ashok Leyland plants across India from April 2023. His academic details includes he is basically a diploma in electrical and electronics engineering from V. Ramakrishna Polytechnic, Chennai. Then Bachelor of Science Industrial Engineering and Technology from BITS Pilani. Then ME Industrial Safety and Engineering from Anna University. He is participated in Tier 3 program conducted by IIM Bangalore on operational excellence. Over to you, sir. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Hema, Raman, and Rajmohan for the intro. Hope I'm audible.
Yes, sir, you're audible,
yes,
sir.
Yeah, thank you. Because this being a blind session, slightly difficult for the speaker because you don't see anybody's face. You don't normally get the reception also. Even we don't know if we are muted by somebody else. Okay. So I'll just share my screen. Yeah. Hope the screen is visible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
So once again, warm welcome for the entire team. Thanks to Foundry Association for giving me this opportunity for this noble cause. So ESG is one area which is very important not only for us but also for the next generation. So this is how I have planned for today's program. So why suddenly this ESG has become a buzzword, and we will try to decode what is ESG and what is the ESG trend in automotive industries, and we will try to have a glance on various reporting frameworks. Specifically GRI, I'll try to at least cover what are all the main headlines. If time permits, I can take you to BRSR reporting also, which is business responsibility and sustainability reporting. And we will also tell you about AL's way of addressing the sustainability needs. So you can read these 3 lines. Every bit of warming matters. Every year matters. Every choice matters. So this has got a very deep meaning. We are speaking about global warming, and as the year changes, we are seeing so many catastrophes, climate catastrophes. Suddenly the climate is going to extremes. So from the mid-range, we are now started operating extremes. The cloudburst has become normal. Earlier, cloudburst used to happen only in hilly region, but everywhere cloudbursts are started happening now. Temperatures are going to extremes nowadays. And if we are not taking action immediately, we are losing control. I think people will remember Greta Thunberg. She is the one who posed a question in UN Council earlier, stating that why you are all pushing all the sins to the next generation. If you cannot correct it, you don't push the sin to us. So like that, the next generation is going to ask questions. So our choice on each and every decision we take, right from commutation to the company, really matters. So first we will try to understand what is 1.5 degrees Celsius, which everyone is trying to speak. On an average, the global warming is being around 1 degree Celsius. This is as per IPCC report of 2023. Intergovernmental protocol for climate change. So as per them, average global warming is around 1 degree Celsius. For 1 degree Celsius itself, we have seen so many consequences. In this current range of global warming, we would be reaching 1.5 degrees Celsius somewhere between 2030 and 2052. And just because our forefathers have committed the crime doesn't mean it is leading to 1.5. Whatever we are doing now is also equally contributing to this 1.5 degree Celsius rise in temperature. So just we will see a comparison at 1.5 degree compared to 2 degrees Celsius. We can say this is a slightly better hell. Please remember, I am using the word hell. It is a better hell. That is what we can say when we are saying between 1.5 to 5 degree to 2 degrees Celsius. By 2100, with 1.5 degrees Celsius, global mean sea level is expected to rise around 10 centimeter. Though it is lower, but we don't know how many districts or what you call towns near the sea will get submerged. Even many cities like Bombay, Chennai, Kanyakumari, not only in India, even abroad, they face the risk of getting submerged under the sea. Almost 10 million people are exposed to these risk of rising seas. Impact on bio, definitely with 1.5 degrees Celsius, there is going to be a impact on biodiversity and species, but it is better than 2 degrees Celsius. The yield of maize, rice, wheat are expected to reduce because of this 1.5 degrees Celsius rise. Population will expose to increased water shortage because population is also on the rise on one side. So the water demand is also increasing. Whereas availability of good drinking water is a challenge. So if you see again, fisheries whose livelihoods purely depend on the seawater only. So they are also equally getting affected. But the only option what we have got is to limit to 1.5 degrees Celsius alone. But we cannot go back to the 1 degree Celsius, which I'll explain further also down the slides. So now with 1.5 degree, you can see how the globe is becoming red. That is, as the color increases, it is going to extremes. So extremes are going to get prevalent. So if it is, say, assume we are not taking any action, 2050, we may reach 1.5 degrees Celsius. Then by 2100, 2100, it might be around 2 degree. Then how the earth is going to behave? And if it is going to be a 4 degree, how the earth is going to behave? We don't know whether it is fit for human life. How far human can adapt to the increasing temperature, not known. The biodiversity change is also not known. So that is what explained in the slides. What are all the adverse impacts caused by human? So water scarcity, food production, there will be a scarcity. Let it be a veg or a non-veg, whatever it is. There is a scarcity because of change in biodiversity. So you have this COVID, so many vaccinations will come, but we don't know whether that will protect us from all the diseases. Cities, settlements, infrastructure, everything will get affected. Ecosystem will change. Species also shifts. What are all the species which may be available? We don't know whether it will be useful to human life. I don't know how many of you saw the latest movie of that Shiva Karthikeyan, Avalon. I think the opening song itself was very beautifully saying that how human is spoiling the nature. And if at this rate, if we are going to spoil, only an alien has to come and protect the earth. I'm not promoting the movie. I'm just saying the song itself is enough to say or illustrate what is happening currently. So what is the glide path available for us? So at least restrict with 1.5 degrees Celsius. So GHG emission, greenhouse gas emission from 2019, if you set as a base level, at 2030, we need to reduce it by 43%. 2035, it is 60%. 2050, it is 84%. So by 2050, with respect to 2019 emissions, we need to cut down our emissions by 84%. Then only the temperature can be restricted to 1.5 degrees Celsius. Okay, 1.5, if you feel it is too tougher target, if we allow, okay, we can bear up to 2 degrees Celsius increase. We don't know whether it is really practically possible for humans to withstand a 2-degree increase. Then also the CO2 emissions need to be cut down by 73% at the end of 2050. For 1.5 degrees CO2 emission by 2050 should be almost 99% cut. So that much of trees you have to have, technology to abate or sequester carbon should be developed. So these are the challenges posed to our engineers now. And see, as you know, engineers are the one who are reason for increasing the emissions, but only we can control the emissions now. So the challenges are cut emissions quickly, sharply to create a safer, sustainable world. Scale up practices and infrastructure to enhance resilience. So you can react faster. Cut global greenhouse gas emissions by nearly half by 2030. And this action, we should not only restrict only with GHG emissions, but there are numerous dimensions attached to it, which we will be seeing in the subsequent slides. And that is where we got this ESG. E stands for environment, S is for social, and G is for governance. So for environment, it includes energy and emission management. Emission doesn't mean the absolute emission or the tailpipe emissions alone. It includes each and every fuel and raw material which we consume. It includes all the VOC gases, right from our AC, refrigeration, everything. Whatever the fuel we consume, it is considered that. Water management. So needless to explain, Chennai definitely know what is the situation of a water. Either they will have floods or drought. That is the situation in Chennai. But that is not unique to Chennai alone. If you see in all over the world, most of the cities are facing this kind of situation. Then life cycle management. product has to be taken care right from its birth till its grave, and we cannot just like that leave it to the grave. We have to try it and bring it back or recycle it. That is what we call as life cycle management. For a simple example, your plastic is the best example for a life cycle management. Team, hope I am audible.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir, you're audible, sir.
Yeah. Okay. And if you have got any clarification or any difference in opinion, you can just stop me and ask. Not an issue. Yeah. On the lab, on the very much on plastics. So the plastics is being generated, and finally, if it is not coming back again to the generator, it is blocking all the soil. It is affecting the soil nutrition, affecting the sea, which many people now, there is a very good awareness on plastics. That plastics is not the only culprit. Though we are able to control plastic to the extent of say 10% currently, not more than 10%. Currently, because of the involvement of major industries, 10% of plastics at least is controlled now on packaging. Others still long way is there, and government is also having lot of legislations in the form of EPR, and they are also using what you call one-time ban on one-time plastics, etc. So this is one classic example on life cycle management. And one more example, what we can say is on the, say for example, our own vehicle, what we are doing at the end of life cycle, and during the life cycle, what it is consuming, and what is that we are letting out. This is various stages of life cycle. Let it be even a e-vehicle during birth of a e-vehicle. What is the emission or what is the impact it is creating to the environment? Which currently we may not be aware, but over a period of time, even from a e-vehicle, we will be knowing what is the plus and minus. And what is the climate change impact? Suddenly you may have the rise in sea level, water will enter into the even the factories or in the houses which is near to the seashore. And again, waste management, a proper waste management is necessary. Then raw material conservation. We don't have abundant raw material. Let it be even steel or raw material for lime or anything. We don't have everything abundantly. It is all limited. So we have to conserve each and every raw material, try to recycle and reuse it. And compliance portions. Finally, it is biodiversity. Biodiversity, knowing or unknowingly, because of our actions, if it is getting affected, we should work on how to bring it back or restore environment. Similarly, social factors issues, includes human rights, labor practices, community engagement, skill development, employee diversity, stakeholder engagement, health and safety, employee well-being, governance issues, include board composition, including diversity. Even in the board now, they are stipulating that this much of that is called both male and female population should be available so that the decisions are coherent. A sustainable supply chain, information security, code of conduct for suppliers and employers, employees, everybody, including code of conduct for board, business ethics, tax transparency, management remuneration linked to ESG KPIs. Because if it is not, if the remuneration is not linked to ESG KPIs, whatever we have told earlier, environment and social, may not be practiced at board level. So that is the reason government is bringing this ESG, environment, social governance. So suddenly, if you see, because of this environment and the damages being done to environment by not only by industries, many of this, mainly industries and many other resources, this ESG has come into limelight. And ESG will also help to save more. It will help you to reduce the risk. You will know who is there next to your compound, who will suddenly release any gases. You will be knowing it in prayer. We can take action prayer so that the interest of the investors, the employees, the supply chain, people surrounding the industries, everything is protected. And that is where if you got a better ESG score, the investor interest is also high. Even you can attract investment at a lesser rate. The rate of interest comes down when the ESG score is better. So nowadays, even the customers are more ESG driven. That is how the e-vehicles, everything is getting promoted. Hydrogen vehicles are getting promoted. So customers, apart from looking only on money, they are also looking on reliability. They are also looking on how much life each product can come. So how much resource it is consuming. So this you need to declare publicly now. Your customer as well as your investor wants to know what is the impact of your industry. And a good ESG proposition will always help you in tapping or enter into a new markets. I think you people will remember the case of Coca-Cola, I think, Coca-Cola in Marthandam. The industry was facing strict opposition from the local because they were drawing water from the ground. Had they been self-sufficient under water, definitely nobody surrounding them would have protested. Similarly, in I think around Mysore, a carbon black industry was there which was letting lot of pollution, and finally it was forced to the industry itself was forced to close down. And we know one more industry because of I think the copper smelting unit in Tamil Nadu, which was forced to close down because of the pollution. So ESG helps not only for the surrounding people, but also helps for the organization for a sustainable growth. It will help you to identify the risk, which you can take action promptly. So this screen illustrates how the risks are global risk and its impact, how it is moving year on year. In 2010, we are speaking about chronic disease, but later we are speaking about infectious disease. Earlier, we were speaking about oil price spikes, but nowadays nobody speaks about oil price, but rather it has impacted on the cost of living straight away. Then failure of mitigating change, how it is affecting us. So that is one major impact. So that is how ESG is gaining more importance in this recent decade. So emergence of ESG is not only about goodwill and reputation of a factory. It has got more than that. So access to finance depends on ESG. Let it see for better this thing, you have a DJSI rating. So many other ratings are available. When your ESG score is good, your access to finance is better. There is a higher correlation of ESG performance in the stock market also. So ESG has become like one more your acid ratio or whatever when you try to evaluate a company. Now ESG score is also gaining importance when you are considering a share, because that is going to establish whether the company is going to have a sustained growth or not. So rising in regulatory requirements, even government is putting day and day stringent what you call policies, so that all the companies are aligning to those policies. And ESG helps you in a better disclosures, so that when, say for example, if India is committing to become carbon or net zero by 2070, the companies in India also need to align, and they have to disclose what is that they are doing regularly, so that one can evaluate and see whether India is in the right path to meet the net zero targets. Stakeholder activism is more frequent and severe. I think people are very familiar in this last statement because we are reading day in day out. Whenever there is a land being acquired for say for example a Sipcot, you are acquiring a land. There is a real estate issue. So people are not ready to give you land. Similarly, if you are going to let out your pollution, the agriculture land is getting affected. It is going to affect the food production. It is going to be a regulatory issue. A couple of weeks back, there was a big issue because of some gas release in Chennai. So immediately what will happen is people will try to seize the opportunity and close down the factory. So, but if I have got a better control on ESG, we can avoid these untoward incidents. So who cares wins is a very simple statement. So whoever is caring for a ESG, definitely he is going to have a better, what you call mileage or a better, even a better position. So sustainability is going to create a long-term value creation. Adaptability will help you in ability to change. You can be more agile. Resilience, you can recover fast. And ESG is more interested in long-term returns. ESG reduces your risk. If you follow ESG correctly with the goals, it helps you in reducing the organizational risk. And ESG helps you in a better disclosure. So these are the various business scenarios that is occurring today. So our consumption is increasing day by day. Globalization is happening in corner. Then markets, new markets are emerging, which is a very positive way. Digital connectivity is better, but on the other hand, ecological, there is a decline. There is a resource scarcity. Again, you can overcome using automation. Then you can go for disruptive technologies. You are getting more equal opportunities now. So the family income is going to get increased. So this is the situation, current situation, and the organization needs to adapt to these changing business environment. So if you see right from June 2011, over a period of time, how the ESG regulatory landscape has changed. So now finally, ESG is being reported as a mandatory in the form of BRSR reporting. Though many companies like Ashok, Leyland, Tata Motors, Mahindra and all, we have a voluntary disclosure even before it was mandatory. I think Ashok Leyland started around 2016 onwards. We are publishing our sustainability report. Likewise, Tata is also doing, I don't remember their age from which they are reporting. Most of the companies who are responsible have started reporting. Now, to cover many companies, BRSR is being made mandatory, and BRSR is unique to India, and BRSR is being driven by SEBI. So it has got a financial implications also. So so ESG helps you in accelerating beyond compliance. How to go beyond compliance so that you will get the benefit from ESG. So a 5 trillion economy by 2025. There are so many visions like that. 2070, India has to achieve net zero. So 50% of its energy we need to meet by renewable energy, which is nothing but in turn you are enabling your emission to get cut by 50%. That is where many of you who are involved in sustainability report preparation, you may appreciate maybe some 3 or 4 years back for a grid emissivity factor, you are using the value of 0.82 per unit generated. That is for 1 unit consumed, we are saying that we are emitting 0.82 kg of CO2. Whereas because of change in the energy mix, we are adding more, the government is adding more and more renewable energy and solar, that is like solar, wind, etc. So that the emission factor has come down to 0.71. So from 0.82, there's a reduction to 0.71 kg CO2 per unit of electricity. So indirectly, these are all strategies that is helping us to contain within that 1.5 degrees Celsius rise. So India is committed to reduce its carbon emission by 1 billion tons by 2030. So as I told you again, why companies need to consider ESG. So one is the financial gain. So with a ESG company with a better ESG score, you have a better valuations, stock performance, you have a better increased access to cheaper equity and debt capital, access to markets which require ESG compliance. So now that if you go to, or rather you want to do business in Western countries, so ESG compliance will help you. Not only that, when you are trying to reduce your emissions, what you are doing is you are trying to reduce your consumption. That means, for example, if you want to melt 1 ton of steel, you are using X amount of energy. Because of this drive from ESG and all your operational efficiency, you will be able to do the same melting delta minus X, which is nothing but adding to your profits straight away. So whatever the operating cost reduction is going to aid in the profits, and you are able to manage climate change in a better way. At the same time, you are able to increase your revenue also. And suppose a company is there which is consuming lot of water, so definitely that company will have a bad name in the surrounding. But the same company is working and ensure that it is not drawing water from the ground. It has done complete, say, rainwater harvesting. Good recycled water alone is being used for their process. So their dependency on the groundwater is almost zero. Then nobody is going to object the presence of that company in that area. And moreover, if the same company, I think Ashok Leyland in Ennur is doing, they are getting the sewage from the nearby residential areas, treating it and then giving it back, which is a very good sign. So instead of the residential areas letting out the sewage, Ashok Leyland Ennur is treating it and then using it for gardening. Otherwise, the sewage would have added to one more this thing, it is in the same Coom stream, which is again nothing but a pollution. So what is the ESG trend in the automotive industry? So we will look at that again, the same three ESG. So under environment, automobile industries, climate change, air quality, renewable energy. Also renewable energy, keeping in mind future. So that is where you develop this, what you call that, lithium ion batteries. From lithium ion, we have moved out to sodium ion batteries now, which is having a better energy. You have moved to hydrogen fuel cell. And even people are trying to invent some nuclear batteries. So climate change, directly or indirectly, again, is influenced by these actions and the air quality which is being let out. Earlier, if you see, when you represent an industry, normally if you see the picture, they will draw industry with some chimney pipes and a black smoke coming out. But that is not the scenario nowadays. Most of the industries will have good scrubbers. You cannot see a smoke just like that coming out from an industry, especially if you take an automotive industry, they don't emit smoke anymore. They have got very good scrubbers. and all mechanism. Even VOC is not let out just like that from their paint booth. So under environment, how you are mitigating the climate risk and what is your strategy to have a better resilience. So resilience amounts to, say for example, your raw material, how it is changing your operations. So there also you should be more resilient. Then your emissions from your product. So the automobile industry, they have gone down to now BS6, which is at par with European norms now. So automotive industries are more building on the EV infrastructure so that the tailpipe emissions is not there now and more inclined towards circular economy. The foundries, you are relying more on raw material from this circular economy. So almost, I don't remember the ratio, at least some 60 or 70% of the material in a foundry, normally it will be from recycled material only. Then on the social front, employee wellness, health and safety. In automotive industry, any industry, if you want to enter nowadays, you can see what is the right from gate, you can see what is the importance, or you can feel what is the importance they accord to the safety, not only to their own men, but also to the visitors who are entering the premises. Even the experience of a customer matters now. 1.2 crores penalty has been levied on Indigo now because of that what you call flight issue in Bombay. They made to eat food on the tarmac. So they have been imposed a penalty of 1.2 crores now. So you have to take care of your customers also. Then your supply chain should be more responsible, for which we have to enable them also. Many automotive industries fund their supply chains on greening them. For example, if their supplier wants to go for renewable energy, the OEM is ready to fund them or will help them in getting loans from banks, stating that we are going to give them continuous orders for so many years. So depending on the brand name of Tata Motors, Ashok, Leyland, Mahindra and Mahindra, something like that, the suppliers, the small scale suppliers is also getting benefited. They can erect their own, say for example, rooftop solar. So that is going to aid them both commercially as well as environment sustainability also. And in turn, that is going to benefit the profitability of the supply chain. That is the small vendor. His profitability is also going to increase. So the well-being, so the employee will take care of the well-being of their employees also. Safety. So you know the seat belt, how it has evolved. Few years back, nobody was speaking about safety. Safety belt. Nowadays, even the passengers in the back seat are required to wear a safety belt. Diversity. So that is one very good thing from this ESG. So both men and women are equal, and the revenue of the family is also increasing, and the decisions are better. You are leveraging on both the what you call both the plus and minus of both the genders. They are all given equal importance. More than that, everybody can work anywhere. Within, see, for example, in India, you are all moving everywhere. Anybody can move in any area. So that is being taken care by well-driven policies that will help us. So you cannot ignore a people based on their language, creed, etc. And on the governance side, it is more transparent. So how you invest, where the funds are moving, are we really ethical in our way of working? Everything is reported. So a shareholder, a customer, or any stakeholder can easily see it, how it is moving. Cyber security, because of technological advancement, Cyber security aids in the safeguarding of one's own industry. So that is how ESG helps you in protecting your own, say for example, IPs or whatever it is, intellectuals, business ethics, then human rights. So human rights is being given more importance now. So even when the COVID or whatever happened, most of the industries flung into action and they were helping the people, irrespective of whether they are at loss or whatever it is. They ensured that the livelihood of the people is not getting affected. Many industries are paying their suppliers also, even if they have not supplied, even if the service is not availed, they were paying them. And government regulations. So ESG helps you in meeting the government regulations and going beyond them, or you can equally engage in the policies of the government also. Will be a win-win situation. Any clarification or doubts, sir? So this is Ashok Leyland's ESG vision. So we are taking care of this environment, social and governance, and these three are the prime areas. There's carbon neutrality, water positive and resource efficiency on environment, and for social, fair labor practices, community development. Ashok Leyland on the community development is investing a lot on the next generation. So Ashok Leyland, what does as part of CSR is, we go to schools, identify slow bloomers. We appoint teachers in those schools and help the slow bloomers to come to the mainstream. So the future generation is well educated. Ashok Leyland was one who brought the breakfast scheme initially. Noon meal was available, but in tribal and rural areas, with the tie-up from Akshaya Patra, it was Ashok Leyland which brought the breakfast scheme, provided good breakfast with which the attendance in government schools improved. AL is having an independent ESG board headed by an independent director. At board level, Ashok Leyland is having a ESG committee. Similarly, Mahindra is also having their own commitments on environment. Acer Motors is having, Tata Motors, and all these are available in the website. If you can go to their website, all these informations are nowadays available. To that extent, you can see what is the amount of energy, say for example, Tata Motor is consuming to make one vehicle or to earn rupees 1 rupee crore. So how much they are consuming energy? Those data are available in the website now. Tata Motor, Ashok Leyland, anybody for that matter, because of transparency, everything is available there. So there is no depth of data. So just going on to various frameworks. So we have spoken so till now about how ESG is helping. But there is a defined structure on how to report ESG. Various framework like TCFD, GRI, BRSR. So many are there on reporting framework, but predominantly BRSR is mandatory in India, then it is unique to India. GRI is one global reporting initiative, which is a very popular one. Most of the companies across the globe use this particular GRI, and there is also integrated reporting now, because you have to report it both financially as well as for environment. So integrated reporting has started, and there are very many ESG rating agencies available like EcoVadis, S&P Global is nothing but the DJSI ratings, CDP is there, MSCI is there. So these are the people, and there are two types of ratings. Whether you like it or not, they will be rating it. You can be a passive participant as well as an active participant. In an active participant case, you voluntarily go to them and disclose, sir, these are the reports available in my public domain. You cannot just like that give an informal report. These are the reports available in my public domain. These things you can use for rating on the ESG. So these ratings are very important when you go for further debt or investment. So there are a lot of frameworks. So as I told you, GRI is covering almost 85% if I'm right. Most of the sustainability report is based on GRI standards. So as I told you, DJSI, CDP disclosure, First Analytics. So they are all instruments or rating agencies to measure your performance. They are the one who prepare your report card and publish to the outside world. Based on what you publish in your website or wherever it is in this earlier, that is the ESG frameworks. And most of them are aligned to the UN 17 sustainable goals. So now that BRSR is mandatory to 1,000 listed companies, and most of us are definitely are in the mandated list. So GRI is used mainly for its flexibility, adaptability, and credibility. So 92% out of 250 uses GRI standards. So under GRI, when you are reporting for GRI report helps in finding out and collating what is the impact an organization has created or could have created on an economy, environment, or people, which is the crux of ESG. And what are all the material topics on economy, environment, and people is carefully selected that it gives the most significant impacts to the reader. So the person who is reading your sustainability report or seeing your report should be able to judge clearly what is the reality in this particular company. So that is how the material topics are chosen. And due diligence is done before publishing any report. That is part of GRI standards. So you have to engage a third party to do proper due diligence. And all the stakeholders has to be identified properly. So your GRI standards helps you in properly identifying all the stakeholders. So under GRI, there are various classes. So one is the foundation, so which introduced the purpose and system of GRI reporting. So how to report with the GRI standards, general disclosures. So what are all the assumptions? What are all the organizations practices? What are the policies? How you engage your stakeholders? Those things are covered under GRI standard. GRI 2 general disclosures. Material topics which we are going to see elaborately. It gives you a guidance on for based on each type of industry. For a foundry, it can be a different type of disclosure. For what you call a glass factory, it might be a different type of disclosure. So those topics are selected based on the significant impacts created by the industry. So when you apply a GRI standard or when you try to adopt GRI standard, you try to put in all data. whatever is there with us, or as per the standard, it is going to ask you a couple of questions. So when you try to fill in those data, it will automatically lead you which are all your significant impacts and where you have to concentrate to reduce your cost or emissions or your footprints. Maybe only in the market your footprint can increase. In all other area, your footprint should reduce. So GRN 400 series helps in identifying that employment, labor, OHS, that is operation health and safety, diversity and equal opportunities. So various questionnaires and frameworks are there, which we'll be using. So this DRI standard is also available in websites also, from which you can download it, and most of you will be already disclosing having a disclosure using this GRI standards. This is also available in the website of the individual companies. So now we'll slightly try to address what I think 20 minutes are there, no? I'll try to cover this BRSR also. Is it okay with that, or you have got any other questions?
Sir, you can continue, sir.
Yeah, okay. So this is the evaluation of BRSR from BRR, how BRSR is evolved over a period of say from 2012 onwards to 2023, where now it has become mandatory. So first initially we were reporting only financial inputs, only financial related items are given reported. But over a period of time, sustainability reporting has been slowly entered into this area. It was not mandated initially, it was only a voluntary thing, but now it is being made mandatory. And when you do this GRI framework, automatically it helps you in addressing this BRSR requirements also, and vice versa, because both BRSR and this thing are hand in hand. Both the standards actually match. So 9 ESG attributes, which we'll see in the subsequent slides. So we are calculating intensity ratios based on revenue adjusted. So you have this purchasing power parity. So from this BRSR report, you'll be able to judge each and every company. You can compare any company based on these parameters. So the BRSR reports actually helps you in judging a company also. On the other hand, if it is properly used, you can use it for promoting your own company. Let it be Ashok Leyland, Foundries, Tata Motors, or whatever it is, Nelcast, wherever it is. So these reports, if you do proper due diligence and all the factors are properly reported, it will aid you in promoting your public image. It will also help you in increasing your profits over a period of time, because you will be knowing what is your risk and you can address your risk. So these are the 9 key BRSR attributes, which is the core attributes we call. So one is greenhouse gas. Straight away, in terms of CO2 emissions, we have to report there. What is your water footprint? So what is your water withdrawal? How much of water you have recycled? How much of water you have discharged? So that will tell the water footprint of a particular company. How much energy a company is consuming? Energy footprint. Circularity and waste management. You have generated 10 tons of paper waste. Have you recycled 10 tons of paper waste? Just for an example. Generated 10 tons of plastic waste. Have you 10 tons of plastic waste has been properly recycled? Have we met the EPR guidelines? Have we bought plastic credits, returns filed? Those things has to be reported in circularity and waste management. Employee well-being and safety. So what is your accident rate and all the matrices of injuries, last time injuries, let it be fatal or minor, first aid, all those things you have to report in this attribute. And how you are taking care of the remuneration of the employees and how you are treating your contractor is also included. And what is the gender diversity of your organization and how the policies are there for inclusive development, how you are engaging with your customer and a supplier, and finally, how transparent you are in your business reporting. So these are the core BRSR, business reporting and sustainability report, business responsibility and sustainability reporting attributes. So now it has been made mandatory for 1,000 companies. So this is a typical format. So under principle 6, there are various principles. Under principle 6, environment will come. So this will be the questions under each parameters. So what is your total scope 1 emissions? Hope people are aware what is the scope 1 emission. Scope 1 emission is nothing but emissions that is happening inside the factory or the boundary. The energy is also used only within the premises and fuel for this particular emission is also used only in the particular premises or the boundary, then it is a scope 1 emission. On other hand, scope 2 emission, energy alone is used inside the premises or boundary, whereas emission and fuel is used outside. That is nothing but typical electricity. You get it from a grid. So let it be a Tamil Nadu electricity board or whatever state electricity board. Emission happens outside, say for example, Metro thermal or Ennur thermal power station. Fuel is also used there only, let it be coal or whatever it is, or gas used there. But energy is used for melting inside the premises. Foundry is using for melting it. Then it comes to scope 2. Finally, it will be scope 3 emissions, which is not currently mandatory. Scope 3 emission is nothing but all the emissions that happens outside your premises. That includes your employee commute, transport vehicles, then scope 1 and scope 2 of your supplier if it is not reported by them individually. Then your employee commute includes even your business travels. The transportation of your waste goods, treatment, energy consumed for treatment during your waste, either for disposal or conversion. That is also in scope 3 emissions. And most of these emission factors mostly will be IPCC, as per IPCC guideline or actuals. And most of them use only IPCC guideline, which is a proven one, because measurement of actual in most cases is very costly. So most of them go for only IPCC guideline. And what is the quantity of carbon you have sequestrated? How much of carbon you have captured? On one hand, the industries let out carbon. Similarly, industries are responsible and you are planting lot of trees and you are absorbing more carbon. You are having better processes which uses these emitted carbons for their own process. So that can be made a net off on water consumption, water consumed or discharged. So you should have proper flow meters. These flow meters needs to be properly calibrated. So what is the cost of water? Then consumption of water with respect to, say, if it is foundry, it will be per ton of steel or aluminum, whatever it is. What is the water consumed or energy consumed, emission per ton? So that is how you try to rate it, and it also checks your discharge. Many units now are having only zero liquid discharge. That means you don't discharge anything. You try to reuse all the water that is being used or let out from the your own process, and with proper treatment use it back into your own process. Even I think it's Sipcot is giving only TTRO nowadays. So what is your energy footprint for producing one vehicle? What is the energy consumed in, say, for example, gigajoules? What is the energy consumed in a foundry to produce 1 ton of block? You also measure plastic waste, e-waste, biomedical waste, construction demolition waste. So we need to declare what is the waste we have generated, what is the methodology we have used for treating it, how we have recycled it. Most of the waste, have we used it as a raw material in a cement industry, or I think Ashok Leyland, Ennur, they did a project on using grinding waste for grinding sludge was used as a brick. They have a patent also for it. Or using paint from paint sludge. How to extract paint from paint sludge. That is also one way of circular economy. Battery, definitely we all know, because all the batteries are going back to the authorized recyclers, who again melt it and convert it as a raw material. So how we are enhancing the employee and well-being and safety of our employees. So what are all the measures we are having to see? So if last number of uh, total number of last time injuries is one measure, but many units have got better attributes more than this, so that it results in lesser impact when you report here. You report this thing, something called what you call, you don't have last time only. All your employees are very safe. That means when an outsider is seeing your company on this particular report, you'll be able to appreciate that this company has taken so much of care for their employees. So this company can sustain over a period of time. It is okay for us to invest in this particular company. So on gender diversity, the payment should be equal for both the genders. So that we are practically disclosing on whether you have got adequate policy on POSH, prevention of sexual harassment. Then inclusive development, how we are involving all your vendors and other stakeholders in your processes, procurement processes, how they are getting involved, whether they have been given equal weightage. So those things we need to publish. Then how we are engaging with your customers. Are you really getting proper feedback from customers? So what is the loss due to us to the customer? To that extent, we need to collect data on report. I think recently in Toyota, one of the factory was closed because of such unfair practices. Finally, a report has come from customer and they found out it is due to a malpractice inside the factory and the factory was closed down. Toyota Japan. And how your business is open, how transparent you are, whether you are doing proper financial audits and audits. After proper audits, you are publishing at regular intervals. So this is also being reported in the BRSR report. So these parameters help oneself to judge a company. Similarly, when a company is trying to project itself in a better way, it is gaining not only to save environment, other thing, it also has a better control on its operating cost. It will be able to envisage what is the risk, take action in advance, profitability increases. So these are few examples how it is being reported in BRSR. So scope 1, whether you are considering all fuel types and what is the unit of measurement for each fuel. So what is the emission factor you are using? What is the assumption for factors? So they have clearly given confirmation that emission factors have been taken from the updated source IPCC. So you are vouching that I am taking only a global factor. It is not, these factors are not tailored for my own process. So you can compare apple to apple with these reporting. So what is the scope 1 emission overall? You will be able to find out. These are all examples on how a scope 1 is being reported. So principle 6 predominantly deals with environment. These reports are all available in websites. You can check any of, even in Ashok Leyland website, you can check BRSR report is available. Our annual report will be there. In that BRSR will be there. Then sustainability reporting is there from 2016 onwards. So one can just go through these reports. So how many indicators are there? So actually, one more information is these indicators are being increased year on year. Slowly, see, there are two indicators, essential to leadership indicators. Essential is mandatory. Leadership indicator is how you can benchmark for other factories, how you can lead your business or your category. A foundry industry can say, I can melt 1 ton of what you call steel with just 1 gigajoule. So that is going to be a benchmark. So all other factory, if they try to be competitive or reach this 1 gigajoule, they are going to save money. They are going to have lesser emission. They are going to contribute much to the environment, and the future generation is also protected. So what the government is doing is slowly they are also trying to increase the essential indicator by moving it from leadership indicator. That means everybody has to become a leader. That is what the indirect message. So it is all win-win situation. So you can, I think already foundries are, for that matter, many forums are there. See, like CAI, your own foundry association, where you share your best practices. The other factory is also seeing it. They are also trying to implement it, which mutually benefits. And no factory is going to leave. Say, for example, if one factory is saying it is 1 gigajoule now, this is going to be a benchmark now. Definitely, either the same factory or the other factory next year will work and will definitely at least say 2 or 3% reduction will be there on a specific energy consumption. So that is how it is progressive. So specifically to say about Ashok Leyland, these are the material topics we are covering. So as per GRI, various classes under which we are reporting. So I'm just passing these slides and I'm not reading any slides. All our policies are available in the website. So specifically, Ashok Leyland has committed to SBTi also scientific based targets. So we have committed to net zero carbon emissions by 2048, for which we have got a clear roadmap. We will be working on to reach carbon neutral in scope 1 and scope 2 by 2030, RE100 for scope 2 emissions by 2030. So we have got a very clear roadmap on how to reach these targets. So Ashok Leyland is working to become self-reliant in water almost by 80% by 2030. So how we are doing currently? Currently we are somewhere at 40 to 43%. From there we are working on to move to 80%. So at the end of this financial year, we may reach to 55% by way of rainwater harvesting, repurposing the water from a particular process. The water discharge from a process can be fit for use in a next process which we don't know. That we have to find out and then use it. Then finally, if it is not possible, take the water, recycle it, again bring it back and use it. And to fill the gap, use rainwater. So this is. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Any questions?
Thank you, sir.
I don't know whether I have communicated clearly. Hope people would have understood.
Any questions for Mr. Venkatraman? If there's no questions, actually, will proceed further. Before we conclude today's insightful webinar, I would like to take a moment to extend my heartfelt thanks to all those actually who made this event possible. A big thanks to our esteemed speaker, Mr. S. Venkatraman, who have shared his profound knowledge on ESG principles. Your expertise has shed light on the importance of environmental, social, governance consideration in today's business landscape. To all our fellow Foundrymen, I extend my thanks for your active participation to understand ESG guidelines. Have truly made this session dynamic and enriching. Thank you once again and have a great weekend. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all. Thanks for the opportunity.
Thank you, Venkatraman. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Thank you all.
அப்படியா இருக்கா மொபைல் வரலையா ஏன்னா ஒரு சில டைம்ல கடுப்பு இல்ல இது நான்
I don't know whether I have communicated clearly. Hope people would have understood.
Any questions for Mr. Venkatraman? If there's no questions, actually, will proceed further. Before we conclude today's insightful webinar, I would like to take a moment to extend my heartfelt thanks to all those actually who made this event possible. A big thanks to our esteemed speaker, Mr. S. Venkatraman, who have shared his profound knowledge on ESG principles. Your expertise has shed light on the importance of environmental, social, governance consideration in today's business landscape. To all our fellow Foundrymen, I extend my thanks for your active participation to understand ESG guidelines. Have truly made this session dynamic and enriching. Thank you once again and have a great weekend. Thank you.